with y'all for about an hour. And then, wait a minute. Wait, I gotta pause. I forgot to. Okay, I forgot to do not disturb. So that's very important to me. It's me, BunnyRabbitLives. I know. Um, I forgot to put today on the schedule. And I'll also be streaming tomorrow, but I will be doing a just reading stream. I mean, not just reading, reading and chatting stream. So, yeah. But I know, don't worry. On my days off, I will be doing the gaming streams. Hi, Yuki! How are you? I am blind and I'm not wearing my glasses. Are you doing good? How are you? I brought some water. I feel like either my allergies are really bad or something's going on. Yes, I'm fine. And you? Love it. I'm fine. Just very much like feel like my allergies are really doing the hard work today. I'm just getting ready to like read for y'all. But I'm also like, I got a new Tamagotchi, right? A new Tamagotchi, and this one looks like one of those cute octopuses that they found at the bottom of the sea, and it's really cute. I think I'm gonna post a picture of it when I'm able to on the community tab. But yeah, guys, have y'all played card games before, like blackjack and like goldfish and stuff like that? Ay, tengo mucha alergia. Very much. Very much allergies today. Um, Truco. That's a card game? Oh, how do you play that? I've never heard about that before. I like playing bullshit. But I don't lie. I don't lie in that game. Not usually. When I lie in that game, it goes bad for me. So I try not to. But also, but I've also played Go Fish, and I really like that too. You know what I don't like? A mí no me gusta jugar slap card or something like that. Something where you have to like be the first one to touch the cards. O sea, when you play the card game that I'm talking about, tienen que tener como tipo dos o tres o un sándwich de tarjetas, ¿verdad? Que son iguales. Y el problema es que tienes que terminar con muchas. Older brother. Yo no tengo hermano. I don't have a brother. Nope. Solo tengo hermanas. Pero no, we don't really like get along well. So they're blocked. But I'm still nice to them when I see them. I just, you know, we're better off at a good distance. O sea, soy cordial con mis hermanas, pero no nos llevamos bien. Entonces están bloqueadas, pero todavía soy buena con ellas cuando las veo. Hasta que hacen lo que les gusta hacer. You know what I mean? But I don't have an older brother. I just say brother like an expression. So I'm like, oh, my brother, you know? Like, oh, you know? But do you have older brothers? If you do, I kind of wish. Well, no, I don't. I kind of wish I didn't have siblings. I'm a very, like, no sé. Yo me veo muy como. I'm a jealous person. I'm like, me. Pay attention to me. No. You have older brothers. That's cool. Do y'all get along? Like, what's that experience like? What's it like to have older brothers? You just have a bunch of brothers? It's all guys. You have no sisters. I have no brothers. I only have two sisters. But yeah, we don't get along. Like my we I don't know if I could talk about that on stream, but like my mutuals and like people who are close to me, they know. They know what my life was like and stuff. Sometimes I talk about it during like Halloween specials or something. But I mean, I try to be cordial, so it's fine. Tienes que ser cordial con la gente con la que vives, ¿verdad? Pero eso no significa que te tienes que dejar que te hablen mal o que maltraten a alguien o todo así. Así que como yo siempre me peleaba con mis hermanas por eso mismo. How I say salud in English? Bless you. I don't know why. I don't know why they say bless you as salud. But salud in Spanish could also be interpreted as like a cheer. So like when you drink and you like tap the cups together, you're like cheers, salud, you know? But bless you, I don't know. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, my allergies cooking. It's because like it started raining yesterday and when it rains, my allergies get activated because of all the loose pollen that comes down from the trees after it rains. In Brazil, it's saude. Did I say it right? Or saude? Or saúde? I don't know. Because the comma in Spanish is like ooh, you know? I think. Salud. I don't know. Tal vez estoy equivocada. No sé. I don't know. Es que yo no soy muy buena para la... ah, ¿cómo se dice eso? Cuando escribes, when you write? Grammar. Spanish grammar, I'm pretty bad at. Hello, Gael. How are you? I hope I pronounced that right. Spanish or English? Or which one? Do you have another expression? It's because I feel like sometimes when people say bless you in English, people get mad because people have lost a lot of like faith. And it's just like they get mad when you say bless you. But I don't. Or Spanglish and the perfect third one. Ah, perfect middle ground. Spanglish forever. Ah. He said dot dot dot. Punto punto punto. Wait. Why does that sound like the Dora the Dora theme? Bandida is bandit in English. Bandit. That's what bandits are like people who steal things. Los bandidos roban. Yo no robo. I need a shirt with I love Spanglish. Bandit. You know what? I might make that happen when I'm rich. Bandit bunny. I don't steal things. I don't. I just take what I am given. I feel bad even asking for donations from a Cash App, which is in the description down below, by the way. Bubbit, I have another question of English. Ask away. Pregunta. Yo te contesto. Si escucharon algo, no escucharon nada. I am not a hungry bunny. My stomach is just, screaming, I guess. I'm not Bandit Bunny. I am accepting Bunny. When I say a people tiene something, I don't know. When you use has or have. Heart stealers, I don't steal hearts. I take them. If somebody offers me their heart, I'm not gonna reject. Okay, when you say a people has something, okay, you say in Spanish or in English. You want me to say it in Spanish or in English? Porque en inglés es, por ejemplo, Yuki has a cat. But in Spanish, it's Yuki tiene un gato. I am no heart stealer. True. She takes my heart and sell on black market. Oh, Yuki, no. Rainbow Girl, hello. It's Sneaky Mimi. Hi. Long time no see. Look, I get on Infinity Nikki like at either really late at night, like at 9 or 8 p.m. or at really early, like at 6, 7, 8, 9, around there. How are you doing? Bonjour? Did I say that right? Bonjour. No, I don't know. But how I use has. Has is like when somebody, cuando tienes algo. O sea, por ejemplo, tener algo. O sea, ¿cómo te lo explico? Si alguien dice, oh, esa persona tiene un gato, o ella tendrá un gato, o ¿qué más? ¿Qué más? I dropped the weight on my foot yesterday while I was training. They want me to get an x-ray to see if it's fractured, but I'm too lazy. That's so bad. You should go to the doctor. Can you move it? If you can move it and it doesn't hurt that bad, then it might not be fractured. But like if you can't move it and you dropped it, how much was the weight? You can move it? Is it like hinchado? Like is it swollen? Just poquito. Are you lying so that you look like tough? Cause how much was the weight? How much was it? Okay, Yuki, for that has, it could also be like ass, like something, like when you do something. Como has Melanie washed the dishes? Ha lavado los trastes Melanie. Algo así. Has a has tener, tendrá, tendrás. But has those two meanings in English, right? But it doesn't change like in Spanish or something like that. Like it's just like a verb. It doesn't go like tendrá, tendrás, tendré. O sea, you know how they change it up like that in Spanish? In English, it stays the same. If it hurts poquito, ¿le has puesto hielo? Have you put ice on it? wrapped it up a little bit, have you tried not doing anything with your foot? You should still stretch a little bit or like do a little bit with your arms, I guess, if you want to keep working out. But I don't recommend doing much on the foot if it's swollen, because then you could lead to more injury. Sorry. Digo eso porque ay, las alergias me están matando. I think I understand. Thanks so much, Babette. You're welcome. I mean, si te pudiera decir, o sea, escribir, thank you so much. Thank you. Porque cuando I was working at a movie theater once, y I fell right on my foot. So like when I fell on my foot twisted to the side, and my full body weight landed on my foot while it was twisted, right? Cuando me pasó eso, yo me quedé ahí parada así, tipo diciendo, ay no, me acabo de quebrar yo sola el pie con mi propio peso. No, porque, o sea, it hurt. Like, it felt kind of numb, right? But it was like a numbing pain. Y dije yo, déjame quedarme aquí sentada porque no sé si me puedo parar. Entonces me quedé ahí unos cuantos minutos y dije, es que si no me paro de aquí, nadie me va a venir a checar. Y dije, no. Y me paré con dolor, ¿verdad? Así, ya saben como, how do people like walk when they're in pain? Like that. I was walking like that. I was limping. Bunny health. You're wishing me good health. Thank you. Hopefully these allergies go away. Um, how's it called? Pero I didn't take care of mine well. So eventually, like my foot is pretty delicate already. Mis tobillos siempre han sido débiles y se han doblado muy flexibles. Mis tobillos se dañan muy fácilmente. Entonces, lo que pasó fue que I kept walking on it, and I had to take like pain meds, which I had never taken before, and it would work a little bit, but no me servía mucho la medicación de dolor. Entonces yo seguía ahí caminando con dolor hasta que me dejó de doler. Y ya camino bien, pero o sea, como quiera. De vez en cuando se me siente el pie como... ¿Cómo se dice eso? My foot feels kind of like a sharp pain from time to time, but it's like rare and it's for short durations of time. I still like take care of your foot. Like take care of your foot because feet are important to be able to move. At least I think so. Take care of your health, guys. Take care exercise, do everything because you'll end up like delicate. Lurk, love you a bit. No worries, Yuki. Thank you. Thank you for chatting while you could. Lurk and chat. Hey. Yeah, I'm gonna start reading at 1. Hopefully I can read 3 chapters this time because I've slept more. But yeah. Voy a leerles una historia a la 1. Ahorita estamos platicando bien aquí, just chilling. But yeah, guys, I will tell y'all right now. My Tamagotchi, I've been kind of neglecting her. But it's okay, it's okay. She's alive. And I take care of her when I can. But yeah. Yesterday, guys, I didn't tell y'all, but my car. Okay, so I have a tall car and I did a really sharp turn and I almost flipped my car over. So, if y'all have a tall car, do not take sharp turns. Do not do that. But also, like guys, yesterday I must have crashed by a little bit because I went right and somebody went at the same time and they got mad at me when I was already in the turning lane. I was like, brother, like I'm about to merge and you're the one who like came, like drove onto me. Like what? But it's okay. It's okay. I can't get mad at that. I mean, at least we didn't crash. I swerved around them. But still, I'm like, dude, I know you saw me moving forward. I don't know why you would throw yourself like that. But yeah, it's okay. There wasn't an accident. Oh my god. And that, like, this truck got mad at this car in front of me. I was like, don't do that in front of me. I don't want to see a car accident. I've never seen a car accident actually, like, actively happen. I don't know if y'all remember, like 2 or 3 years ago when I was hanging out with my friend and we were eating ice cream, and then he, like, we were just talking, right? And then we hear, you know? And I was like scared. I go, what the fuck? And so I look and cars had crashed. And then my friend ran and to try to help them and check on them. I was like, that's crazy. Because I would be freaking out. A mí me da mucho miedo los accidentes de carro. Yo no quiero ver nada de accidentes de carro. Yo no quiero ser causa de un accidente de carro. Yo no quiero estar viendo un accidente de carro. Nada. Eso a mí me da mucho miedo. Digo yo, no. Quédense vivos, saludables y, y cuidadosos, ¿ok? Drive safe, guys. Because it's scary. I don't want to see that. Yo me preocupo mucho porque hay mucho loco en la calle aquí, manejando. Pero yo no me voy a excluir. Yo también manejo como ellos, ¿ok? I drive like everybody else. So if everybody else is driving crazy, I mean, you can assume I'm trying my best, guys. I'm trying my best. I'm just a bunny. Bunnies don't know how to drive. Bunny hybrid, but still. Don't forget to like. But yeah, guys. And then I was working, right? And I was planning to make like a Palworld server with my coworkers. Because most of us have Palworld, right? And I've taken like a 2-day break from Palworld. Who's my favorite Marvel character? So I think a lot about Nightcrawler. I would say Jesus. Not, I mean, he's not, sorry. It was an exclamation because my allergies are really acting up. But, I would say it's gonna be Nightcrawler from X-Men. I think he's really cool. Am I locked up? What do you mean? Like, is there an echo? No, it's allergies. I'm inside, like, the closet, and I think there's something in here that activates my allergies, but I don't know what. I am in my closet, but I'm not locked up. I'm doing it of my own free will. Because I don't have, like, a designated room to be able to, like, stream it. So I stream in my closet. Sure. But yeah, I like Nightcrawler because he's not only religious, but he looks like very, what's it called? He looks very demonic. But he's like the most religious character in, like, the comics or whatever. And I'm thinking, like, I'm not Catholic, but I really admire the fact that he can stay level-headed and be kind and accepting despite um being treated horribly due to how he looks, you know. And he was nice to his mom too. When his mom was like, "Oh, I don't want you," and he was like, I will beg." Like, I think he asked, like, he said he would ask God for forgiveness to help him forgive her, but also for forgiveness for her to help her forgive herself. And I'm like, that is so sweet of him. But yeah, I'm actually okay. I just have like a lot of allergies, and I don't have allergy meds here, so I just have to like tough it out because honestly, they're like $16, and I need to pay rent for real. I have bills to pay, and I'm just like, you know what? If I'm not gonna die from my allergies, I think I can tough it out. But yeah, but you guys don't follow my example, okay? I would take the allergy meds if I could afford them, right? So if y'all can take allergy meds, please do so. But don't drink any juices after, because I hear that it prevents the medicine from taking effect. Okay, so I never drink juice with my medicine or soda or anything. I just drink water. Okay, guys, because I think juices have like magnesium in it, and that affects it. Dollar store allergy meds are pretty cheap, but they make me sleepy. Oh, are you talking about Benadryl? Yeah, I don't like to be sleepy, and I have to drive around for my job, so I don't want to like drive around sleepy because it's already like really scary here with the way people drive. Oh, by the way, hello, toxic waste. How are you doing? You get sleepy with the allergy meds? See, because I used to take a medicine that would make me sleepy, and those were, I think they were like sleep meds or anxiety meds. I took them once or twice, and then I got scared because I would stay asleep for like 12 hours at a time. And I was like, I cannot be taking this. This is scary. I was like, what if I die in my sleep? Like, I can't. I'm doing well, bunny lady. Thanks for asking. You're welcome. And I'm glad to hear you're doing well. You said you take allergy meds? What are you allergic to? I speak Spanglish, by the way, so I switch from Spanish and English sometimes. But if you ask me what I'm saying, I'll definitely translate. Pollen, same. So like, okay, I'm allergic to corn, which is sad because I'm Mexican and I love corn. I still eat it, but rarely because sometimes it really does make me feel like I can't breathe a little bit, which is why I have dry cough. But but yeah, I speak Spanish quickly too. Oh, that's great to hear. So that we could, we could Spanglish together. Hey, we all love Spanglish here. But what's it called? Not only that, but I'm also like allergic to the humidity or like the pollen that gets dropped during humidity and mesquite. Don't even get me started. Like, you know how mesquite grows in like very areas que son semidesérticas, áreas semidesérticas, tienen mezquite, ¿verdad? Y aquí hay mucho mezquite porque está como en el borde de México, ¿verdad? Y en México también hay mucho mezquite porque México es semidesértico. So, cuando fui a visitar a México, estuve bien 5 días, ¿verdad? Porque estábamos ahí por una semana. Estuve bien por 5 días y luego, los últimos 2 días como que estaba como extremadamente enferma. Tipo, when I get my allergy attacks, it's like I look sick and I cough hard and I have watery eyes, I sneeze a lot, like my nose is runny, I start sweating, like it's pretty bad. Así que los últimos 2 días de México, cuando visité la última vez, estaba muy mal, ¿verdad? And so I wish they had allergy meds there where we were, but they didn't because it was like a small town. And I was just cooking, you know? Tipo, batallando mucho, pero I'm good, I'm good. You know, everything is fine and dandy. I'm drinking water, by the way, because I think it'll help me. Like, it helps me, like, you know, breathe better, pero still. Where are you from? Because I'm from Mexico. Pero I grew over here in yeehaw, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I am not using VR, by the way. I'm using Reality, a application on the phone. Oh my goodness, guys! I swear to God, I'm fine. I'm fine. But I will be reading for y'all today at 1. I don't play as many board games as I used to. Mesquite, like the barbecue. Yeah, I can't eat barbecue like when it's cooked with mesquite. So like if people like cook with mesquite, I'll actually get an allergic reaction. I never realized it was called that because it was a kind of tree. Pero me alegro que estás un poco mejor and I'm in the East Coast. Oh, so you're like in look, I'm bad at geography, okay? You're either in Florida or California. I'm gonna guess Florida. I'm like close to Mexico. Not New Mexico, but close to Mexico. Like touching it. But yeah, like I can eat barbecue. It just has to be made with like actual like with different wood logs, not mesquite. Your neighbors with New York. Oh gosh, that has to be California, I think. Bro, I'm bad. Oh, I'm so bad at geography. La geografía no es mi fuerza, ¿ok? La mía, yo creo que en la escuela lo que hice mejor fue la ciencia, pero sin matemática, así que la chemistry, no, you know? ¿Qué más? La física, no. Welcome back. We were talking about allergies. I won a ranked match. That was difficult. Oh my goodness. Congratulations. Who were you playing as? Or who did you play as? No, girl, California is on the West Coast. Girl. Oh. Look, I'm telling y'all, I'm bad at geography. Yeah, that's why I'm coughing a lot. It's allergies. They're just really bad right now. No, I'm not sick right now. My allergies are really bad right now. That's why I sound like I'm sick. So like I was explaining to them that when I went to Mexico, like the worst thing I feel like I'm allergic to is mesquite. And so mesquite is a kind of tree that grows in semi-desert areas. Right? I was telling them that the last 2 days that I was in Mexico, I was dying. I was like so sick with allergies. I was coughing, I had a runny nose, I was sweating, I couldn't sleep. It was pretty bad. Así que sí, sí. Tengo alergias y se ponen muy malas y me veo como que sí estoy enferma. That's the West Coast, girl. Is it New Jersey? No, that's also West Coast. No. Oh, qué vergüenza. No me sé la geografía muy bien, ¿ok? No me juzguen. Okay, yeah. So, mi alergia mala es de mezquite. Y también el elote, tristemente. Oh, I was right. New Jersey. Oh, you said by New Jersey. New Hampshire. I don't even know where that's at. Oh my goodness. Viva! I'm trying to live, okay? I'm fighting this. I'm fighting full force. What am I allergic to? I'm allergic to mesquite, corn, and a certain pollens. Sadly, corn. I love corn. You're allergic to everything. Oh no. Yeah, elote. Yeah. Hey, don't judge me. I know, I'm Mexican. I love elote. I still eat it, but sometimes it makes my throat feel like it's closing and it hurts a little bit. What the fuck? I know. Yeah, you could be allergic to corn. You know that you actually can't digest corn. El elote no lo puedes digerir en realidad, pero sabe muy bien. Así que por eso cuando lo comes y vas al baño hay muchos gránulos de elote, porque no lo podemos digerir. Nada más lo comemos. Pero todavía me gusta. Ah, wait, how do y'all like your corn? Do y'all like it? ¿Les gusta con chile, de tajín, limón, mayonesa? What else? Oh, if you mix it with las conchitas, the yellow chips. Ooh, that's so perfect. A mí me encantan las conchitas preparadas. Corn is so good. That's the worst debuff to get as a Mexican, right? I'm like, gosh darn it. You know what? But this debuff does not stop me. I will still eat corn. Because my allergies aren't that bad when I eat it. But one time I did have a bad reaction, but it wasn't like my friend, which I miss a lot. Her name was Saberitas, or that's what we call her. That's not her actual name, but she helped me a lot with that. Like, she bought me allergy medicine. She bought me like some vitamin C drinks. It was really nice. I was like, girl, I'm dying. Oh my god. I was running around like literally because I was like panicking from how bad it felt. Hi, Kalala. How are you? Hola. Hello. We're talking about allergies, but yeah. Worst debuff ever. How do y'all like your corn, by the way, though? Like I said, I like mine en conchitas preparadas. But I used to eat corn on the cob too, but like the same with like limon, mayonesa, tajin. I'm Puerto Rican, so I don't typically eat it on the cob. I like corn soup. I think it's a Japanese thing, and I like corn when it's roasted with butter. Wow, I've never tried that before. With butter? But I've never tried corn soup either. How do you make that? Is it good? I was searching for a billion years ago. You were searching for my stream a billion years ago? Or allergies? Or what happened a billion years ago with the dinosaurs? Oh, by the way, what is y'all's favorite dinosaur? Did y'all know the guy from Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park passed away? I forgot his name, but yeah. Se murió uno de los protagonistas de Jurassic Park. Mi dinosaurio favorito es el Stegosaurus. Stegosaurus, creo. No sé cómo se dice en español. Stegosaurus. The Indominus Rex. That's not a real one though. But that's okay. She is really cool. Ella sí es muy, muy cool. Me gustaba, pero al mismo tiempo yo la veía como una villana. Pero ella no sabía que estaba siendo una villana, supongo. O tal vez sí, porque mataba por gusto. No se comía lo que mataba. Nada más los mataba. Pero cuando se la comió Mamasaurus, o como se diga en español, Mamasaurus. Mamosasaurus. Oh my goodness. For me, it's real. Hey, don't make fun of me. Okay, okay. I won't make fun of you. What team am I voting for the next World Cup? Wow, there's a tiny spider here. I need to squish it with my Switch. It's too damn close. I would. Oh, oh. I would let it live, but it's too close for comfort. So, yeah. No survival for you, spider. You should have thought. What team am I voting for in the next World? You're talking about the World Cup? Mexico. I always vote Mexico. I will always want Mexico to win. They were so close. I was so upset when they lost. I was like, bro, you're gonna lose in your own territory? No. No. It's okay. Oh my goodness, Kilale. Yeah, but I still want Mexico to win. Toxic Waste says the one with the spikes on its back. I like the Dilophosaurus. I think that's how you spell it. What does the Dilophosaurus look like? Yeah, the one with the spikes on its back. Like, cause I learned a lot about it. Yo no me estaba burlando de ti. I wasn't making fun of you. I was just talking about how she was really cool. I love the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies. Yeah, the Stegosaurus, did you know like it actually had really flexible hips? And that even though it was like one of the dumbest dinosaurs out there because of the amount of brain there was compared to body, that it was very good at aiming. So like because it had flexible hips, they would aim for the groin of whatever predator was trying to eat them. And they had to be really calculated. It's like an elephant. I'm sorry, wait, Kalala, could you repeat that? Oh, the Dilophosaurus is like an elephant? Yeah, flexible hips like Shakira. Hell yeah. Wherever, whenever, we're meant to be together. Da, 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 da. I don't know. Wait, but yeah. Uh, and it would but it had to be really calculated with how it aimed because if the spikes hit wrong, then they would break off. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. I love them. And the Dilophosaurus is the one they think used its forehead bone thing like a trumpet. Oh, okay, I like those too. They're really cute. They're herbivores. I like them. They're really cool. They have a nice shape. The Indominus Rex, like, I thought she was cool, but she was evil. Like, how did she know she had a tracker and to remove it? And then she was like over here tricking people. I was like, no, don't get out. Can you change maps in the background? Mm, I think I can, but like, say, let me see. I have a bunch of green rooms right now. Here, let me see. I have a bunch of green rooms because sometimes I make videos. But yeah. Wait, I can't even sit back there. Hold on. Yeah, I can't sit in this room yet, but maybe this one? Oh, okay, so that's how I do that. Okay. So I could sit. Here. So this one. See, I don't do this very often because, like, I already have a room where I can move and such. You know what I mean? Oh, okay. How beautiful. Thank you. This is like, I don't really buy room decor in here, so yeah. Yo no sabo. The Dilophosaurus is the lizard that spits venom in in Jurassic Park. The horn one I like is called a Parasaurolophus. Parasaurolophus. You like it? Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's okay. It's okay. We're all no sabos, but the Dilophosaurus, like those are scary in a way. I'm short, guys. So I'm short in here. So see, I made myself kind of accurate. So this is like the closest you're gonna get to a face reveal. You can just call me Goblin. All right, I'll call you Goblin. But the Parasaurolophus, that one's really nice too. If y'all want, I can show y'all the other rooms. So I have this one. I'm gonna sit on this one. Yeah, I have this one. And it's like for like duos. So like if I stream with another person, because I used to stream on here too, but room tour. This is a room tour. This is like the small room. I already showed you the last two. This is the one that I was showing you, and this one is because I was planning on doing like D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, and I was like, wait, I don't know if this will work because you can only add like 4 people. Wait, but yeah. So that's that room. Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons. I used to play a little bit. Invite me to play, hey. Someday. Have made a video with someone. I have, but those videos I've made them like in Sky. So this is my other room because I had a different channel and I was trying to be like a horror one. But yep. So that's that room. And this, I don't know how I got this furniture. But I did because I don't really buy it. And this is a different one. Someday I could invite I could do like a collab with everyone and do like Dungeons and Dragons maybe. I have to go, Bunny, but I love you. You know, I'm going to see if my foot is okay or not. Please take good care of yourself. Thank you, and you too. Take care of yourself. Take care of your foot. And stay hydrated. Don't forget to leave a like, share, comment, and so you're already subscribed. Wait, I tapped it, but I didn't sit. I'll sit on the pink one first, then. Actually, no, I will not. Guys, I'm struggling to sit. The struggle is real. There we go. But yeah, it would be, wait, what would be really cool? Hello, Blue Balloons. How are you? But yeah, stay hydrated, o sea, quédate hidratado. Ten cuidado, cuídate el pie, ve al doctor. Deja like, comenta, comparte, y bye. And you said, welcome everyone. Please like, share, subscribe, and activate the notification bell to watch more enjoyable content. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Liked and subscribed. It's free. Thanks. Really appreciate it. But yeah, guys, we have a few minutes before I start reading for y'all. And now that I showed y'all a room tour, I can make more rooms. I just haven't made more. And also, I can wear more outfits, but I think I'm gonna save those for like special occasions. You know what I mean? Like, I'll get dressed before stream or something so that y'all can have a nice, you know, show. But yeah, I am trying to look like a show host. So yeah. But my allergies are kind of like still bad, but calming down from the looks of it. So yeah. I'm not leaving yet, guys. I'm still here, by the way. That's my outro that I give to everybody who's leaving. Which I feel like it's very long. I think I should like change it up a little bit. Special occasions? And what are you going to read? Like 1984 or maybe creepypastas? Actually, today we will be reading Behooved by M. Stevenson. We are on chapter 18, but I do have a playlist for those who want to see the story from the beginning. And also, if you want, I could share the playlist after the stream in a post. Everybody sub and like now. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, special occasions. So like, I used to, when I had a lot of time, I used to do stuff for the 4th of July, Valentine's Day, Halloween. We had a really nice stream for my birthday, or subscribers' birthdays who played Sky Children of the Light with me. It was really nice. I miss those days. You're such a nerd. It's adorable. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Lucifer. Hello. That's mean. No, it's not. I am a nerd. I'm just not good at like geography. So like, I read a lot. I play a lot of games. I play mostly games. I also enjoy films, movies. You know, I enjoy art. I just haven't made a lot of art recently because I've been very creatively stumped. But I also like love to like meet people and chat. So this is why I do this. I stream to be able to like chat and meet people. No, you're not being mean. You're being nice. Goblin, they're being nice. What? You're okay, Toxic Waste. You're okay. Guys, being a nerd is not a bad thing. Being a nerd is just somebody who enjoys geeky things. Like, if somebody calls me a nerd, I'm just gonna wear it with pride because, guys, if something is true, it shouldn't be painful. If somebody means it, with harm, and it's true, why would it hurt? You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. So like if somebody's like, "Oh, you're such a nerd," I'm like, "Yeah, I am." Hi, buddies. Hello. Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot to mention it on the Discord. But I also forgot. I think I mentioned it on my community tab this time, but not on Discord. Sorry about that. Toxic Waste says, "I know, but Goblin got mad at me. I didn't want to get beat up." No, Goblin is not gonna hurt you. I was just teasing her because she reads and likes Dungeons and Dragons. Actually, I have not played Dungeons and Dragons in like, I'm gonna say like almost a year or two. It's because like it's hard to find a good group that like is fair with like the timing that they take, and also like good with role playing. Because for me, role playing is very important. Goblin, you're not gonna beat her up, right? I ain't, bruh. Okay, okay. See, everything is good. But yeah, I haven't played Dungeons and Dragons in like 1 or 2 years because it's hard to find like a group that's really good with like the timing and also like role playing, and that doesn't have like too many rule Nazis. You know what I mean? You good. Don't worry about it. I don't usually check your stream notification. Wait, is that like a good thing or a bad thing? You just like try to find me, or you mean like you're like, oh, I'm too busy? Ah! Actually, don't answer that question. It might be better to be blissfully uh unknowing of that answer. But yeah, guys, I'm actually about to start reading, so let's see. Yeah, I have like 2 minutes to read. Oh, not the chair. But yeah, um, that's why, guys. That's why I don't get insulted when I get called a nerd. I still collect the dice though. I've always been a dice goblin. Hi, Jades. Do I know you? I feel like I know you. Are you? I don't think I know you actually. There's a lot of. When you ending stream, I think I'm gonna end it at 2. I knew it. I was like, that's you. You're my mod. I was like, because there's a lot of J's recently. No, Jay, I knew it was you. I was just like, there's a lot of J's. I don't want to like assume. That's our mod. That's our manager, guys. Ferris says, I mean, I just go to YouTube after checking up on catching up on my anime episode. Then if you stream, that's the first thing I find. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. 2. Wait, what? 2 what? When you ending the stream? Yeah, at 2 p.m. CST. Oh wait, different time zones. Never mind. Wait, what time zone are you at? What time is it for you? I'm offended, LMFAO. No, Jay, don't be offended. You know you're so cool. You know you're awesome. Come on. Don't be offended, Jay. Also, your profile picture changed. I was like, wait, and also I'm blind. The little what's it called? The PFP is like the size of like my longest finger. Actually, not even. It's like my shortest fingernail. I can't see. EST, so it's 2 p.m. right now. Oh, okay. So for you, then I would finish at 3. 7 p.m. So 1 hour more before ending your stream? Uh-huh, because today I'll be reading, guys. 7 p.m. I think, or 7 a.m. It's 1 a.m. right now on my area. Oh my goodness. I'm kidding. I'm not offended. And I know the PFPs are tiny. Don't worry, Hefa. Thank you. Thank you, because I was getting worried. Okay, so Faris, it's if you're sleepy, you could fall asleep to me reading. I am saying that. Just kidding. Alright, guys, but it is already 1:02, so I do have to start reading for y'all. Okay? Jay, you came in late. I was gonna like chat and stuff with y'all. I forgot to mention it on the Discord. That's on me. That's on me for real. I should have remembered. But also, guys, don't forget to check the description for the Cash App, okay? Seeing Jay reminded me of that. Thank you, Jay. Alright, guys, I will start reading soon. That's a great idea, Hello. Read me my bed before story. Read me my bedtime story. Alright, guys. We're gonna start reading in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. By the time the sun hung heavy in the western sky, we'd passed a handful of villages and climbed deep into the mountains. Mixed forests gave way to a sparser spruces and firs, bent against the cold like old women, and the peak's bare slopes were crowned with glittering snow. A final village, smaller than the rest, clung to the flanks of the mountains in a narrow valley just before a major pass. By unspoken agreement, Eric and I paused in the center of the road, studying it from a distance. The village seemed quiet, no guards in sight. Sturdy sheep dotted its paddocks, and smoke drifted serenely from manifold chimneys, blending with the haze of low-hanging clouds. I recognized the pass from my study of Gildenheim's geography, or at least I thought I did. My heart sank. If I was right about our location, we'd covered less than 30 miles and still had the breadth of the mountains to cross. The journey should have taken 2 days, but at this rate, we'd be lucky to get there before the coronation. We hadn't accounted for Eric being slower than a typical horse. In retrospect, a grave miscalculation. The already dipping temperature and heavy clouds promised a wet and frigid evening. I pulled my coat tighter to my neck with one hand as a raindrop hit my face. The cold will only get worse after The cold will only get worse after sunset, Eric said, mirroring my thoughts. I nodded grimly. My body was already weeping at the prospect of another frigid night of sleeping on the ground, especially if it decided to rain in earnest. Along with the cold, fear prickled my spine. The glowworms had been harmless enough, but if they and the walking trees were real, what about the rest of Gildenheim's legends? I wasn't keen on taking the chance that the soul-hunting werewolves from the folk tales Tatiana and I used to scare each other with would turn out to be as harmless as puppies. We should see if the village inn has any beds available. I hesitated. You don't think they'd recognize me? Or you, for that matter? Unless you're planning to sleep in the stables. I doubt the news of my assassination has spread this far, Eric said. And no, I don't think they'll recognize either of us. We're not dressed as nobles, and the majority of Gildan citizens can barely even write their own names. I doubt they've been studying my portrait in their spare time. I pulled a face. As far as I was concerned, there was no excuse for illiteracy in a wealthy country. It's something I plan to remedy, Eric said, his tone sharpening as he sensed my disapproval. What? Having your citizens study your portrait? Do you plan to distribute cameos? Teaching them to read. The knowledge gleaned from books should be available to everyone. Annoyance had turned to earnestness in his voice. Interesting. I'd known Gildenham lacked a system of public schools like those run by the adepts in Demaria, a worthwhile investment since any person could potentially manifest magical ability. But I hadn't realized Gildenham's rulers cared about such things. Perhaps they hadn't before Eric. I turned back to the village, scrutinizing its streets. It appeared harmless, sedate. That didn't mean it was. Smiles and mild manners could hide a weapon just as well as a soldier's uniform. But I was exhausted. My entire body hurt, both from a night of sleeping on the ground and from the remnants of my earlier flare. The cold already pinched at my skin, threatening a night worse than the last. Eric, are wild wolves real? His words were tinged with confusion at my tangent. Why wouldn't they be? That, and another raindrop splattering on my hand, finalized the decision for me. It might be self-indulgent, but I was willing to take Eric's assurances about our safety for my own if it meant a good night's sleep. Never mind, let's ask for a room at the inn. The sun was already broaching the horizon, so we loitered near the road until Eric transformed back into a man. He shook himself with a full-body shudder as he finished pulling on clothes. Archives and indices, he muttered. Do you have any idea how frustrating it is to not have hands? I've been plagued by itches all day. I managed not to laugh. We made for the village, carrying the saddle and impossibly heavy bags, and hurrying out to outpace the coming rain. The village's streets were as quiet as they'd seem from a distance. A few heads turned to watch us pass, making my shoulders tighten with apprehension, but they soon turned away again, uninterested. I tried to relax. We were on the main road to Demaria, and adjacent to a major mountain pass. Besides, the villagers here saw travelers every day. We were just two more, albeit two who were carrying an expensive saddle with no horse in sight. The inn was easy to find, humble but clean. It had its own small courtyard just off the main road. Inside, the building was dimly lit by tallow candles, backed with pewter. They couldn't afford adept-crafted lanterns. No surprise there, but a hearth spilled warmth and light throughout the interior. I cast a suspicious glance at the fire, remembering the green flames in my chambers at the castle. But this one looked ordinary enough. The inn's main room was empty aside from a group of 3 travel-worn customers drinking beside the hearth and an innkeeper behind the bar. I glanced warily at the travelers who were watching us none too subtly. One of them, a woman, golden pale and dark-haired, didn't even try to pretend she wasn't looking. I didn't like the way her eyes lingered, hungry and intent. It was probably just curiosity on her part, but my nerves prickled, and I was glad of the rapier at my side. The sooner we were out of sight, the better. Eric, setting down the heavy saddle, caught my elbow as I started across the room. He lowered his head towards mine. For a dizzy moment, I thought he meant to kiss me. Instead, his lips brushed against my ear, sending a tingle down my neck. Let me do the talking. His voice was so low it was almost inaudible. I pulled my elbow from his grasp. Why? I can haggle as well as you. Better, probably. It's not about haggling. Your accent stands out. My accent is impeccable. I retorted, deliberately butchering each syllable. Eric winced as if my pronunciation physically pained him, and I hid a smile as I followed him to the bar. A room for the night and a meal. Eric set our purse down on the bar. We prefer to dine in private if possible. Of course, the innkeeper's voice accent. Oh, blah. The innkeeper's accent by comparison to Eric's was like a bruh. I have to read that again. Of course, the innkeeper's accent by comparison to Eric's was like pond water to melted ice. Eric's own pronunciation of course was crisp, flawless, royal. Too late, I realized that his accent might betray us worse than mine. I glanced over my shoulder at the other travelers, still watching. My nape prickled a warning. Did they recognize Eric? Or me? I leaned around Eric, caring more about speed than hiding my accent. And a bath, please. As hot as you can make it. Eric gave me a sharp look. I countered with my most winning smile. I desire to wash before bed, husband. At least one of us smells of horse. The tips of Eric's ears turned pink. He looked at the bar instead of the innkeeper as the woman named a price. Eric paid without argument. So much for haggling. And we went upstairs to wash and change. He slotted the key into the lock and turned it, then stopped in the open doorway, blocking my view of the room. What? Does this room come equipped with assassins too? I rose to my toes to look over his shoulder and was treated to a view of a chamber with a washstand, an empty tin tub waiting before the blazing hearth, and a bed with the sheets made up. Smaller than I was accustomed to, but clean. No assassins to be seen unless they were hiding under the bed. Oh, the bed. There was only one. Oh. My face warmed. We'd slept together in the arboreum, but the idea of sleeping beside Eric as a man knotted my mind into a much more complicated tangle of conflicting feelings. The stairs creaked behind us. Someone else was coming up, and we were standing in the hallway for anyone to see. I nudged Eric in the ribs. Inside. We can discuss inside. I pushed him into the bedchamber and closed the door behind us, turning the key in the lock. As the bolt clicked into place, I let out a sigh of relief. Eric set the saddle he'd been carrying on the ground. I'll sleep on the floor. His voice was gray with resignation. I dropped the saddlebags on the bed. I'd managed to go to the whole day without thinking of how he'd flinched from me on our wedding night. But it couldn't be avoided forever. I thought we'd established that I'm not going to stab you during the night. I realized you found me abhorrent, but surely we can manage to occupy the same mattress without touching. Eric flushed scarlet. Why do you think I find you abhorrent? I folded my arms. I believe the last time you and I were about to share a bed, your words were, let's get this over with. Eric actually covered his face with his hands. Bianca, I thought you were planning to kill me and usurp the throne. It had nothing to do with, well, you. Oh. Oh. So your reaction wasn't because you find me abhorrent. The words slipped out before I could stop them. I wanted to snatch them from the air and stuff them back down my throat, where they belonged. When I could see Eric's face was the color of sunset. Abhorrent is not the word I would choose. I was tempted to ask what word he would use, but I didn't trust my tongue. It seemed determined to tie itself into knots whenever the subject of our relationship came up. Well, I managed. I don't see an issue with sharing the bed then. We are married, after all. Eric lowered his hands from his face, though he was still flushed. I'm just not accustomed to sharing a bed. My brows lifted. He'd caught me by surprise, especially considering that he had a lover at court. Though there were certainly more places than bedchambers in which to engage in such activities. Perhaps he was more adventurous than I'd given him credit for. I cleared my throat before my mind could run off into the dangerous territory of musing about such adventures. Well, if you insist on sleeping on the floor, I won't stop you. But if you can tolerate the hardship of laying next to me, I promise not to kill you in the night. Agreed? I held out my hand for him, as if we were closing a deal, instead of taking it. Eric gripped my wrist. His eyes narrowed. He turned my hand palm up, revealing the strange new scars running across my skin. A spiderweb of thin golden lines from the lantern's broken glass. When did you perform blood magic? I looked up at him sharply. I haven't, other than our wedding ceremony. This happened when the assassins attacked. I cut myself on the lantern, and these marks appeared later. I didn't know what they meant. Eric cupped my hand in both of his, fitting around mine as if our hands were made for that purpose. His thumb traced the odd scars, warm and gentle. A tingle ran up my arm that had nothing to do with magic. These are definitely blood magic marks. His thumb crossed my heart line, following one of the cuts. See? He turned his hand over, showing me his own palm. A handful of golden marks gathered at the tips of his fingers. I picked out one from our wedding on his fourth finger, which a ring would have graced had we been married in Demaria. They were identical to mine except for the placement and size. But I don't even know what blood magic is, I said. And I'm certainly not an adept. Eric released my hand. The heat from his palms lingered on my skin like the latent notes of a song. You're familiar with witches' eyes, yes? We didn't call them the same thing in the Marian, but I gathered the meaning. Each person with magical potential developed golden flecks in their eyes as their power manifested. The same color, I realized, as the marks on our hands. My own eyes were terracotta brown, not a hint of gold. But I'd stared into Tatiana's plenty of times. We used to make a contest of seeing which of us would blink first. I nodded. Magic always leaves a mark, Eric explained. Your adepts are fond of channeling it into physical forms and letting those vessels bear the brunt of it. But there are other ways. Green witches? But I thought they were just untrained. They can't make weapons or other devices the way adepts do. Can they? My contempt for gilded magic was suddenly spinning on its axis. No, though we may have to disagree on whether that's a good thing. And green witches have their own methods of training. It's just different from adepts. Most of them apprentice within their communities so they can better serve as healers or crafters. He caught himself, clearly drawing back from launching into a detailed explanation. But that's not what I meant. Blood magic is a different method, used only by Gildan royalty. It's an ancient type of spellcasting that binds power with pain. How charming. Eric grimaced in agreement. I prefer to avoid using it if at all possible, but it's required for certain rituals like the coronation. And the wedding ceremony? Yes. I frowned, examining the scars. But then, what are these from? The only magic I remember is from our marriage. Bianca, you turned me into a horse. I told you, that wasn't my spell. I tapped the locket. And besides, I'm not royal. How could I have cast blood magic? Of course you're royal, Eric said. We're married. Have you forgotten the shared blood? I opened my mouth to protest, closed it again. Oh, that would have been helpful to know. I did tell you, our vows were sealed with magic. Well, I said, you left out a stupendous amount of detail. Eric's mouth twitched towards a wry smile. I curled my hands closed, hiding the marks. So they were the sign of blood magic. If only I knew exactly what that meant. Whatever I had inadvertently done, I was almost afraid to guess. At least now I knew why my palms were crisscrossed with golden lines. Eric was watching me with a pensive expression. A furrow had formed across his brow, and I suppressed the urge to smooth it away with my thumb. I tucked my hands safely behind my back. Instead, where they couldn't develop a dangerous mind of their own. I'll go down and see about that meal we asked for. Let's hope they understand my horrific accent. I flashed Eric an innocent smile and headed for the door. I was taking the coward's way out, avoiding the dangerous flutter in my chest and what it could possibly mean, but I had always known I was a coward. The offerings the inn sent up, soup and day-old bread rolls, were better than I'd expected. I devoured 2 rolls and an entire bowl of soup in a few minutes flat. The broth was enriched with some sort of gamey meat and flavored with dried rosemary and sage, probably imported from Demeria. I doubted the herbs grew at this altitude. The inn's girl delivered 2 steaming pitchers of water when she came to take the empty dishes away. I let out a blissful sigh and started towards the tub, then stopped and turned towards Eric. Would you? He turned around, presenting me with a view of his narrow shoulders. My eyes ran down his back, and I swallowed, trying to quell the unexpected and unwanted heat crawling in my stomach. I was going to ask if you would like to bathe first. You seemed rather upset about the mud. Oh, wait. Bro, that's the wrong voice. I was going to ask if you would like to bathe first. You seemed rather upset about the mud. Oh, Eric's shoulders were taut. That's all right. You're probably worse off than I am. Not exactly a compliment, but this wasn't an argument I had any desire to win. I headed towards the tub and loosened my hair from its knot. I'll be quick. Eric moved to the bed. Straw shifted within the mattress as it settled under his weight. He rummaged through one of the saddlebags, retrieving something from our remaining supplies. I poured hot water into the tub, unbuckled the dagger at my wrist, and toed out of my shoes. Then paused, my hands on the hem of my undershirt. I glanced over my shoulder. Eric sat with his back to me, bent over something in his lap. The hearth immersed the room in a golden glow. Plenty of light to see by, should he happen to turn around. Well, Even if he did decide to look, I had nothing to be ashamed of. And besides which, we were married. He would have seen it all by now had our wedding night gone according to plan. I dropped my clothes in a crumpled heap and slid into the bath, biting back a hiss as the hot water found the scabbed over cuts on my chins. The water lapped at my chin as I sank down as deep as I could. I cupped some in my hands and splashed it over my face, tasting salt as grime washed from my skin. The tub was already clouded with dirt. Myriad cuts I hadn't even noticed prickled and stung as the water reached them. I should clean them before the bath got cold. Dulita had taught me, among other things, to never ignore a wound, even a small one. I pushed myself upright, shivering as the colder air hit my damp skin, and reached for the soap. Something rapped sharply against the window. I yelped and lunged for my dagger. Water sloshed over the side of the tub. I was halfway to standing before I realized I was still completely naked, and the sound had caught Eric's attention too. My eyes locked on his. Both of us froze. Eric was standing facing me, a book dangling from one hand. When had he when had he acquired that? The eyes were a winter sky. They flicked downwards for the briefest instant, then hastily returned to my face. He held my gaze, color in his cheeks and fire in his eyes. An answering heat kindled low in my stomach. Deliberately, I lifted my chin, challenging him to comment. Another rap at the window. Both of us flinched, jolted out of whatever impassive we'd fallen into. I twisted towards the window, my dagger half drawn. Outside the panes, a large, wet bird clung to the sill, tapping an oversized orange beak against the glass. A, a puffin? Eric's voice was huskier than usual. I sheathed the knife. Not an attack, just a seabird, confused and very out of place. Perhaps it was disoriented by the rain. The puffin tapped its beak on the glass again, more insistently, as if it was determined to get in. But why would a bird? Oh! I grabbed for my towel and, wrapping it hastily around myself, hurried to the window. When I opened the sash, the drum roll of steady rain greeted me. The puffin thrust out its beak, offering me a tiny vellum scroll. I held out my hand gingerly, wary of being bitten. Were puffins friendly? The bird deposited its message into my palm, made a peculiar rattling sound with its bill, and flapped away into the night. I watched it go, incredulous. When Avito assured me he could handle sensitive messages, I'd expect a highly trained spy or a clever spell, not a seabird. What was that? I turned around. Eric was closer than I'd expected. I almost walked straight into him. The towel slipped, and I nearly dropped it. Eric's gaze tracked the movement, and he swallowed hard. Warmth rose to my cheeks, but I didn't step back. Neither did Eric. His gaze moved to my mouth and stayed there. The blue of his eyes nearly swallowed the black of his pupils. We stood close enough that I could feel the heat of his body, and it woke an answering warmth in my core. Without conscious thought, I lifted my hand to rest on his chest. Feather light. Eric's heart thumped hard against the splay of my palm. Scant inches remained between us. It would take only a breath for one of us to close the distance. Then Eric cleared his throat. He stepped back, far enough that my hand dropped from his chest, and turned deliberately away from me. His knuckles were white on the book in his hand. Disappointment flared, foolishly, irrationally. I'd been imagining things, my senses eroded by exhaustion. Eric might have been caught by surprise seeing me unclothed, but of course he wasn't actually interested, and neither was I. This wasn't a children's tale where curses were broken by true love's kiss. And even if it had been, we had a truce, not a love match. Thank the seas nothing had actually happened. I couldn't afford another vulnerability, especially one that wasn't returned. What did the puffin give you? Eric asked, still looking firmly away from me. I dropped my gaze to the scroll, glad of the distraction from my near embarrassment. A message from Ambassador the Pass. I scanned the lines of ink written in a small, neat hand that slanted sharply. The penmanship was familiar, though I couldn't put my finger on it. On why. He doesn't have much to report. The guards continue to search. He says my retinue is still being detained, but they're unharmed. Eric frowned. Nothing about Maria? Or the search for the assassin? I shook my head. I'd hoped for some new and useful detail, but Evito's silence on the matter meant nothing. We'd only been gone for one full day. It was likely too soon for the situation to have drastically changed, and Maria might not have trusted the ambassador with anything she'd learned on her own so far. Better no news than a word of worsening developments, like a message from my parents. I could only hope they hadn't heard about my wedding night yet, and that they weren't somehow involved. At least you know your people are safe. Eric's shoulders loosened slightly. I'm sure that's a relief to you. It is. I lowered the scroll. Where did you get a book? Maria included a few key volumes in our provisions. My brows rose. No wonder the saddlebags had felt like a sack of cannonballs. I'd been unwittingly toting around Eric's personal library. A few? How many is a few? Only 6, Eric said. She limited it to the essentials. 6? Eric, how were you even planning to read them? Your eyes were on the sides of your head. Eric looked down at the book in his hands. I was optimistic they would be in their normal position for the return trip. I started getting dressed. I had enough of vulnerability for one evening. Tell me, then, what books are so essential they needed to accompany us to the border? Eric was silent for a long moment. I glanced over my shoulder at him, but he was standing with his back turned, his face hidden, tension coiled through his frame like an adept clock device. Eric, you can turn around. He didn't. Instead, he kept his eyes fixed on the book. It was closed, so he couldn't possibly be reading. It occurred to me that silence might be a defense for him, an averse of how I often concealed my own discomfort with brightly fluttering words. I am well aware of my failings, he said at last, his voice as bitter as salt water. As is most of Gildan Court, for that matter. You needn't prepare them. Oh, you needn't parade them before. Oh, wait. Brother. I'm gonna start over. I am well aware of my failings, he said at last, his voice as bitter as salt water. As is most of Gildan Court, for that matter. You needn't parade them before me. My stomach twisted. He thought I was mocking him. I walked around to face him. Eric didn't look up. Eric, my question was genuine. I want to understand what's important to you. I want to understand you. Eric finally looked up, His eyes were fit to drown in. And what if, should you come to understand me, you don't like what you discover? My next words could shatter the thin ice we walked on, sinking us both. And while I could tell myself I needed to understand Eric for my country's advantage, the unnerving truth was that I simply wanted to, because he fascinated me, like the endless changing swell of waves on the shore, a current that could all too easily pull me under. In our vows, I promised to care for you, I said. Can you truly care for someone you don't know? Eric's gaze flickered. I would argue it's worse to be truly known and despised than not cared for to begin with. Virtues, intractable he was as intractable as a statue. I wanted to shatter him. Then that's a risk we both take. But I would argue we can hardly do worse than how we began our marriage. I picked up one of the other books at random. Now, I'm going to sit by the fire and read about. I squinted at the title, A History of Agriculture in the Say Empire. If you care to join me, I'll be by the hearth. I sallied over to the fire and settled myself on the flags, doing my best to pretend I was reading and not watching Eric from the corner of my eye. A long moment passed. Then, hesitantly, as if he suspected me of laying a trap, Eric came to sit beside me, cross-legged. It's a volume on alternative logging practices, he said quietly. After I read the treaty terms, I wanted to learn if there were any means of fulfilling its stipulations without harming Gildenheim's remaining wild places. This man! How had I ever thought him heartless? My mouth curved. How despicable of you! Eric looked up at me sharply. Our eyes met, and his lips quirked into a wry smile. Perhaps not, he admitted. But there are certainly those who judge the time I spend reading as worthless compared to skills I lack, compared to certain other people. His hands had tightened on his book. I was certain he was thinking of Varen. Earlier, I thought that Eric must never have known this thing of being deemed unworthy. But I'd been so wrong. If only their positions were reversed. A true courtier on the throne once more. If I could go back now, I'd glare the whispers into silence. I think it's admirable, I said, holding his gaze. And entirely worthy. Knowledge serves a ruler more than fencing, that's for certain. Eric watched me for another long moment. His smile softened, deepened, becoming something less careful and more real. For a moment I thought he might say something further, or, virtues, help me, lean towards me as he had earlier. Then an ember popped in the fire, and both of us jumped, startled out of the moment. We looked hastily down at our respective volumes and fell into a silence that was almost comfortable. Eric read in truth. I let my book lie open on my lap, unable to focus on the printed words. Eric was absorbed and unobserved. I watched the firelight limn his face, tracing his features in golden green. Green? I blinked at the hearth. Yes, the flames burned verdant, just as they had in the castle. Eric, I murmured, why is the fire green? He glanced up from his book. A Greenwich spell. It makes the flames last longer to save on wood. You'll see it in every hearth in Gildenheim. if you look the right way. I recalled what he'd said earlier about Greenwitch's apprenticing within and serving their communities. How different from Demeria, where adepts not only trained in isolation, but rarely sold their magics to anyone save nobles or wealthy merchants. It was a difference I found I didn't mind. Eric went back to reading. I rested my head against the wall, the warmth and the deepening night slowly lulling me towards drowsiness. The fire shifted and crackled. The rain beat a steady patter on the roof. The bath had eased the worst of my aches and pains, and I was warm for the first time in what felt like days. Any inclination to get up gradually washed away, erased like footprints from the sand at high tide. An arm slid beneath my knees, another around my back. My eyes fluttered open just enough to see what was happening. Eric had me in his arms. The ground vanished beneath me as he scooped me up, carrying me onto the bed. He eased me onto the mattress. A blanket's weight settled over me. A moment later, the mattress dipped beside me as he slid into the bed on the other side, leaving a careful space between us. I should have protested being tucked in like a child. Instead, exhaustion interfering with my logic. I squirmed towards Eric and nestled myself against the warmth of his side. Eric stiffened. His muscles were frozen, but his warmth was like a personal hearth, welcome and melting. I sighed and pressed closer, resting my cheek to his chest. Eric's heart thrummed beneath my ear, a beat as comforting as the familiar swash of the sea. He lay without moving, barely breathing, long enough that he might have turned to stone. Then, just before I crossed into sleep, his arm crept around my waist, so lightly I probably dreamed it. Oh, okay, I'm gonna drink some water. That was great. I enjoyed that thoroughly. Okay, why am I speaking in character? What the heck? Okay, guys. I took a water break. This was great. Oh, okay. I guess I can read one more chapter and then we'll see. Okay, guys, so 1, 2, 3. Reading chapter 19. Despite my fatigue, sleep proved fleeting. I woke late in the night to the stirrings of yet another flare. Nausea curled my stomach, making me regret every bite of dinner. Beside me, Eric was asleep. He lay on his back, his head turned away from me. I must have imagined pressing up against him, think the virtues. The thought alone was enough to make my face heat with embarrassment. He wasn't touching me now, his breath steady and slow with sleep. A sliver of moonlight trickled through the window and caught his hair, making it shine like molten silver against the pillow. The rain must have finally stopped. I eased out of bed, wary of waking Eric, and groped my way over the saddlebags. The tonic bottle's glass was cool against my fingers as I worked it open. I drank half the dose, then put the rest away. I had only one full dose left after this. I couldn't afford to use it now and need it more later. I slid back into bed, holding my breath as not to disturb Eric. But now that sleep had escaped me, it was reluctant to return. My cuts and bruises were aching again, and more than the physical discomfort, my mind was restive. I couldn't stop thinking about the events of the past few days. The wedding with its strange magic, the assassin's attack that had started a spiral of disaster, the potential of the crises to spin into an all-out war. Despite everything I'd sacrificed, if we couldn't break the curse before the coronation. I stared at the rafters, trying not to move, but my mind squirmed mercilessly, prodding me with guilt from every angle. This, instead of peace, I secured chaos. Half the guild in court believed I was a murderer, the other half that I was a kidnapper. I had turned the man I married into a part-time horse. And worst of all, I had abandoned my people, the retinue whose only crime was loyalty to the woman who had failed them. Me. While I read by a crackling hearth, they shivered in the castle dungeons, subjected to only the seas knew what mistreatments. Julieta, Catalina, the other soldiers who made up my guard, men and women who'd volunteered to protect my life with their own. What would they think of me now? Against my will, Catalina's face flashed into my mind. Not as she was now, but as she'd been 10 years ago, before I dug a gulf between us and filled it with the bitter salt of regret. Her eyes soft as she looked into mine, as she brushed her fingers along my jaw, the hurt in them. Not much later, when I'd spoken the words I must, she'd volunteered to come to Gildenham, so perhaps she'd forgiven me. But I couldn't forgive myself, even though by any measure I'd done the right thing. I let out a frustrated sigh. Sometimes I wished I could scour unwanted memories from existence. All I did by keeping them was pick at wounds that should have long since scarred over. Is your condition bothering you? Oh, my bad, guys. Is your condition bothering you? I froze. Drown it. I'd gotten careless again, forgetting that Eric could hear me. Sorry, I whispered. I didn't mean to wake you. It's all right. Eric turned onto his side, facing me. I wasn't sleeping well anyway. I rarely do. I rolled onto my side, mirroring him. Now our faces were scant inches apart. His lashes cast shadows onto his cheeks. It's flaring a little, but the tonic should have taken effect soon. Should take effect soon. Is that not what's bothering you then? Eric's tone was tentative, as if he'd expected me to lash out in response. Something about the darkness invited an intimacy I might regret in the morning, but couldn't resist any more than gravity now. I was thinking about the guards I brought with me to Gildenham. Eric waited. I ought to be wary of his patience, but I lacked the strength to muster my defenses. I'm worried about them, I confessed. To my horror, my voice cracked. The admission breaking a part of me I'd barely been keeping intact. They're good people. They've done nothing to deserve being thrown into a dungeon except be loyal to me. Their job. Eric's expression echoed my own guilt. It was his people who had imprisoned my retinue after all. I promise you, Bianca, no one will hurt them in my name. We don't condone torture in Gildenham. Maybe so, but even kings didn't know everything that passed within the walls they ruled. These guards of yours, Eric said cautiously. Is one of them more to you? I stiffened, then let out another sigh. I had already given too much away. I should make it clear that I wasn't dishonoring my marriage troth before Eric drew the wrong conclusion from my silence. Yes, no, both. My captain of the guard, Catalina Espada. We used to be close, but we've never shared a bed. Maybe we could have once, but I didn't have the choice. The last spilled out of me before I thought it through. I frowned. No, that wasn't right. I'd had the choice. I'd chosen the right thing. To put Catalina aside before whatever grew between us sank roots deep enough that it would hurt to tear them out. I'd chosen my duty. If you would rather keep what lies between you private, I respect your boundaries, Eric said. But if you're willing to tell me, I would like to know more. I didn't try to hide my surprise. Why? A wry smile flickered across his face. Can you truly care for someone you don't know? My returning smile was ironic. Of course he would use my own words against me. I looked down for a moment, considering. My history with Catalina was a vulnerability, but Eric had shared something of himself with me earlier tonight. Maybe a marriage, like magic, was an exchange. I lifted my gaze to find Eric still watching me. Perhaps it was the moonlight making everything surreal. Perhaps it was my exhaustion, but his eyes. I could find no intent to wound, only curiosity, sincere and compelling. It started when I was 14, I began, and allowed myself to remember. The connection between Catalina and me had bloomed slow and fragile, like a rose in the late summer, tempting the frost's bite. Looks exchanged between bouts of weaponry training. Her going too easy on me when we dueled, me going too hard on her. As the months passed, it progressed into more, touches lasting longer than necessary, our hands brushing when we passed in the halls. And then, one spring evening near my 16th birthday, our first kiss. It was a courtyard beside the training grounds, Catalina shy but eager, I reckless, thinking I was immune. Clumsy and sweet and promising something more, our lips found each other, and explored as much as we dared. I thought I was brave, I thought we were alone. But of course, the palace had eyes in every nook and cranny. This was the court of Demeria. Futures were made, or broken, with the power of knowledge, leveraged just so. My parents called me before them the next morning, as stern and unforgiving as the palace's defensive facades. They understood, they said, that young people had desires, but I represented House Liliana. One day I would marry, not for love, but for advantage. And when I did, I couldn't afford the whispers that my loyalty was compromised because I cared for another. I was my parents' daughter. I understood. My country, my house, my people all came first. There was no room for anything as small as selfishness. I could want, I could yearn, but I could never have. I had to be infallible, to let no one see the cracks in my armor, and love. That was a fatal weakness, one that couldn't be allowed to fester. I did what was necessary. I told Catalina unflinching that we would never be anything more, that what had happened between us was a mistake. I cut my nails into my own palms, but showed no remorse. We'd practically grown up together. For Catalina to believe me, I couldn't give her anything but my utmost resolve. I watched her heart bleed for long enough to make her think I didn't care. And then I turned away and walked to my room, every bit as sedate and serene as my parents could wish for. I locked the door, refused entrance to anyone save Julieta, and cried until I was empty. Then I rose and made myself forget the feelings I'd briefly entertained, shedding them like snakeskin, until I was a new person and they were no longer true. In their stead, only guilt remained. The guilt of hurting my best friend, a wound time hadn't fully closed. Eric listened until I was finished. Silence stretched out between us, delicate as gossamer. I'm not in love with Catalina, I said. We've both moved on, and I'm happy for her. She deserves someone who wouldn't hurt her, someone who would never cast her aside for the sake of politics. But I swallowed, confessing the truth I'd rarely admitted even to myself. I know that's how the world works for people like us. Sometimes, but sometimes, even now, it still hurts, even though I should be strong enough not to care. Eric shifted, his brows drawing together. Caring doesn't make you weak. I released a raw laugh. Of course it does. It's a vulnerability that anyone who knows it can exploit. Respectfully, I disagree. Caring means you're strong. It means you're brave enough to let yourself feel, even though it puts your heart at risk. Tentatively, Eric reached out, sweeping a lock of hair from my brow. And you are strong, Bianca. Stronger than I think you know. I caught my breath, not daring to move as his fingers skimmed my cheek. That isn't true. Eric's gaze was uncomfortably keen. Why not? It was my turn to hesitate. I was reluctant to let down the walls, shielding me from anyone who could do me harm. But Eric had already seen me at my weakest and my worst. It couldn't hurt to tell him that we had surely surmised for himself. Oh, to tell him what he had surely surmised for himself. I'm not brave, I said, the words flat as a blade. I'm not strong my whole life. I've been done exactly as expected of me. I've done exactly as expected of me. Taken the road presented and never strayed from it. If I were brave, I wouldn't have cut Catalina off and avoided her for the past 10 years. I could see Eric thinking, turning his answer over like a pebble rolled across the palm of his hand. It takes strength to make a difficult choice, he said. Not if it's the only one. I was going to a foreign land to marry a man you didn't know, the only choice. The only right one, I said. The only one that counts. It was my duty. That's the only choice that matters. Eric knew that. It was the choice he had made, too. We were nobles. We did what we had to do. And that didn't take strength or bravery. It took only compliance to follow the roads laid out for us from birth. Eric was silent for a moment, but he wasn't done. He took my hand by the wrist and turned it over, revealing the guilt scar from our wedding. Duty or not, you should have the choice. He touched the thin gold mark, and a shiver thrilled through me despite the bed's warmth. You ought to decide for yourself who you share your life with. I shook my head. We're both born of noble families. You know that isn't how it works. But why shouldn't it be? He countered. We decide the fates of entire countries. What's stopping us from deciding the course of our own lives? I had no answer. The idea was valid. It was ludicrous. Been taught. And yet I wanted it to be true so much it hurt. Eric folded my fingers closed, hiding the scar from sight. You mentioned divorce earlier, he said, resolve stealing his words. When we return to Arnhem, I'll give you back your choice. I'll annul the marriage and we'll make a new treaty with our own terms. I want you to choose your life freely. Shock made me glad I was already lying down. Gradually, our truce had transformed from a necessity to a proper alliance. That our marital agreement would continue was something I now realized I hadn't questioned. Eric might not want me as a wife, but we were bound together in this nonetheless. Or so I'd assumed. I hadn't expected him to cast me loose, much less because he wanted to give me freedom. The prospect should have made me feel a liberty. The entire ocean before me, any compass direction ready to be made my own. Instead, it unmoored me. I felt lost adrift with no shore in sight. Without my marriage to Eric, without a clear and single path to follow, I hardly knew who I was. If I wasn't the daughter unflinchingly fulfilling her duties, I wasn't sure I was anyone at all. Eric was waiting for my answer. I swallowed and forced a smile. Thank you, I managed to whisper. I allowed myself to imagine it. Once we reversed the enchantment and returned to Arlem, I would be freed from a marriage with a man I didn't love. I could do anything I desired, marry whomever I choose. Not Catalina, that chance was long gone. But there were countless other options. A woman from the Sahi Empire who would bring with her silks and spices. A man from Demaria who would make me always feel at home. The road reached into endless possibilities, a thousand routes whose ends I could not envision. The choice was mine. The thought should have been a weight off my shoulders. So why did it feel instead like the weight had doubled, suffocating me? Dang, guys, this is good. Okay, but let me see the time. Alright, guys, I did say the stream would end at 2. If anyone is still there, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Why am I speaking in character, guys? Oh my goodness. I need to like drink some water or something. You're welcome. I hope you enjoyed the story. I did. I was like, dang. I love this trope. But yeah. Thank you everyone for stopping by and chatting and sharing and liking and commenting. Thank you so much. Stay hydrated. Please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe if you have not already. Have a great day or night, and bye.